Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of my podcast. The first one got a little bit of traction, a lot of positive feedback, and I'm really excited to continue with this one. Today, I am not gonna have any guests yet, but expect one of my friends in the next episode. Hopefully, we will launch it next Sunday. So I'm really excited, and I hope you're also looking forward to talk to one of my friends in this tech slash business industry. So the topic of today is business ethics and morals, which is something which is not really talked about in public. And I have a little bit of experience in this field, very limited experience, of course, but I want to share with you guys some of my thoughts on this topic, which is very fascinating. And I'm trying to learn as much as possible about it. And I hope that it's going to be some interesting content for you guys to listen to and maybe to discuss in the comments. By the way, if you have any ideas or suggestions, please feel free to put them in the comments or just DM me if you have my contacts, which I'll also leave in the description because I want to make the greatest kind of podcast content for you guys. And the only way to do it is to hear what works and what not. So please share anything that you have. And also, of course, subscribe, leave a like, and that really helps me discover more people like you and bring more value to more people. And of course, it will help me in my metrics, and maybe someday I will monetize this podcast. But for now, no ads, besides probably my startup, which is, of course, in the description. Feel free to check the link, narada.com. So, business ethics and morals. Let's start with marketing. Um, Marketing might be seen as a necessary evil because it's not genuine. It's something that you put on a billboard, you see some Facebook ad, you understand that people are just trying to make money out of you as a consumer, but still somehow it works. Maybe a month ago or so, I watched a video by, I think, some German news media, and they had. I'll try to link that video to this podcast so you guys can review it. But the topic was how marketing affects our brain on this subconscious level and how it makes us uh, kind of learn about the brand and then to pick the specific product when you're in store and how it affects your brain. That's really fascinating because for me, marketing is a necessary evil, which is not necessarily an evil, if it makes sense. Um, First part, why is it a necessary evil? Because it's really hard to get your product into the hands of your customers if they don't know about it. Um, One very interesting case study is ChatGPT and OpenAI, which managed to get millions of users. I don't know about the exact number. I have to pull it up to check it, but an enormous number of users in the first week, months or so, without any marketing efforts at all. And that's really interesting because that is very rare. It is one of the only products that I can think about. There are definitely more, but it's certainly a rare thing. Um, the way it got popular is it was so valuable for customers, for users who use it for free before they introduced the ChatGPT Plus subscription, that people were spreading news about it by themselves and they didn't need to market it at all, at least publicly. They didn't have any ads or campaigns that would try to bring more users. They just did it, and people started using it. They started sharing it with their friends, and it kind of blew up. But sadly, 99.9% of products do not go down this route, and you have to present it to people. And why marketing is so ingenuine? Because if you try to present your product genuinely, nobody cares. We as humans, we need bright images, we need something that attracts us, we need to be a little bit lied about, and it's just how we're created, how we're set up. And the only way companies can do to promote their product is to be a little manipulative about their marketing, because otherwise you wouldn't care about their product. Most of the time, ChatGPT is a very, very rare example of how it not works, when it doesn't work. So some videos where people are excited about the product, they are just the actors who play a game where they try to show how great the product it is, even though it might not be, and it works, and nothing else works. At least on the scale, on the global scale, like this kind of advertisement, which marketing is much more broader topic than just advertisement. But if we're talking about the ads, it's just how we are made, and we cannot say, oh, this company, they suck, they are trying to make a buck out of us, they do that stupid marketing. But at the end of the day, you're buying their product most of the time, so it's just how life works. um, I just covered a small portion of what I wanted to share with you guys, because I have a lot of many topics to dive into. So please feel free to share in the comments, or just let me know if you have any ideas, or maybe you want to have a counter argument to my thoughts, which are very limited at this point. So I'm very excited to talk more about it. The next topic is sales. Sales is it reminds me of marketing, because again, it's just a way to make people buy something from you or from your company. You make them do what they didn't intend to do, but at the same time you're bringing value by providing a product. So in a way, you're just taking a person who didn't intend or was thinking about but wasn't ready to buy something. You persuade them to buy this tool or service or anything. Um, and I believe that there is a room for doing it the right way and the wrong way, both in terms of morals and making money. Again, I'm not a professional salesperson. I haven't made a lot of sales in my life, but just from my limited experience, what I can say is that when people are just straight up lying to make money out of you, that's definitely not right. And I also think that in some jurisdictions it might be a felony if you do that. Um, Not really sure though, but I'm I can imagine then if you're trying to scam people, it's gonna put you in jail at some point. So there's clearly a spectrum. If you are really showing what kind of value your product or service brings to a person, that's a win-win situation, I believe. But even there, you use so many tactics, so many psychological tricks to persuade them to do that. And again, you do that not because you're an evil capitalist, which partially you are, of course, we all are. But at the same time, there is just no other way to do that. If you don't do that, this guy will do that. And people fall for that. People are uneducated about what kind of tricks marketers and salesmen are using on them. And I think the only way to do something about it is not to abolish capitalism, of course, which I believe is the only way to go, at least for now, but to get more educated about how it works, how sales and marketing work. Um, and I believe it is something that they have to teach us in schools, because otherwise we are making not very smart choices when we buy something which which doesn't which doesn't end up in anything good for anyone besides those who make money out of you. And I believe that free market, the idea of free market is to bring the best value for the best price. Basically, the best products should be like the price of a product should be proportional to the value it brings. It doesn't work that way. The better you sell, the more money you make. They say that a bad product with great sales is much better than an amazing product with bad sales. And that's how consumer behavior works. It's how we work as people, and it's just something we have to get more educated about. And that's what I believe. Nothing immoral about sales and marketing, but people should know more about this topic because I've learned a lot. Again, a little experience, but still a lot I can share even at this point that I want to more people to know who haven't ever learned about S&M, sales and marketing. Next topic is building and changing the world versus making money. Um, I'm very familiar with the startup world, and I think that there are two major different ways on looking on startups, not talking about traditional businesses, but startups. First is a dude sitting in a garage. He codes an amazing application. He starts selling it. It changes the world. He becomes a millionaire, and everyone's happy. That's an idealistic approach. People imagine things that are not there. They're trying to make it a pretty story, but partially it's still true. Many people are driven by building, and money making comes second. Second one is the same dude who tries to build this thing, but all he cares about is making money by building and selling the product, which is also not completely true for most of the people, because just making money is very hard. You still have to have some kind of an internal drive to continue building, to have some positive impact, quote unquote. And positive impact is not just um, being Jesus Christ and bringing kindness to all the people. No, value can be just giving $1 of value more than you take to you. And this is a fair trade, and this is a positive change in the world, in my worldview, which I will talk about a little bit later, which is the next topic. But yeah, so I think it's both of these. Especially in the startup world. People are driven about changing the world, about building a great product, but at the same time, people are driven by making money, by becoming wealthier, by bringing their ego to the top, which is something I believe we should constantly be aware of and not let our ego suppress our moral beliefs. But um, I think that people just have to understand that when you build a company from scratch, especially if it's a startup, you're driven by both of these things. And no one should just say, oh, this guy, he coded this app himself, he made a lot of money, it just came to him as he was building this amazing product, he's a genius, blah blah blah. No, it doesn't work that way. You build the product, you iterate, you learn from customers, you do marketing, you do sales, you do a lot of sales. 90% of startup CEO work is sales. So it's not that kind of a story, but at the same time, it's not just about making money. It's a lifestyle. People love it, and I think it's a value add. And which brings me to the second topic, or it's actually a fifth, no, it's fourth topic of today's podcast: value add in startups. What I found fascinating is that often a price of a product, let's say Netflix, is less than a value that you have from purchasing their product. So, for example, Netflix. I'm not exactly in this B2C, business to consumer space, and I'm not aware a lot about it, about the details of how it works. But I think a simplified example would be if there was just Netflix and no other similar products or subscription based platforms where you can watch movies, you would have just one alternative. You would go to a movie to watch a specific movie, and it would cost you, maybe it would cost less than a monthly Netflix subscription, but let's say you're going to the movies 3 times a month, you spend $30 every month. But by purchasing Netflix subscription, you pay like $20. You have access to those three movies, and you have access to thousands other movies. So Netflix makes money. It kind of changes the market a little bit. Now those guys make less. Now you making more. But at the same time, for consumers, for less price, you bring them more value, you bring them more opportunity, which is great because people spend less to get more. And I believe that's that is the great aspect of capitalism, modern capitalism, and this startup world, because in a short time period you can change the way of our consumer behavior for the better, for and decrease the price of that. You improve lives, right? um, of course you make money out of it, and it's great because you change the market, you improve the lives of many people, and you have this value add because it's not a zero sum game. It's more value than it was before, and again, less price. And with competition with many other platforms like Amazon, what's it called, Prime Video, Disney Plus, and many other platforms, you have this competition, which kind of makes it a little bit worse because you have to pay for multiple platforms to watch specific movies, but at the same time, it brings the prices down. And I believe that this system is a value add for our society, definitely. Want to hear from you guys? Feel free to post your thoughts. Um, The last part is free market versus government control, which might be a broader topic about capitalism versus socialism versus, God forbid, communism. um, in my view, and again, many people have different opinions. Many people are much smarter about me, much more, they understand much more than me. But in my perspective, free market is awesome, but you have to have some kind of a government control to prevent monopolies, to, again, scary word, taxes, to tax people, because some kinds of things, not in the US, but in many other countries, healthcare is sponsored by government. Things like education and many other aspects of our lives cannot be just cannot be living in this capitalistic system, because otherwise, um, it's just essentials that we need, and government has to have some kind of a budget to provide that. Of course, governments, most of the governments, and I think all the governments have their problems, like corruption, like unnecessary spending, budgeting issues, and many other much deeper and greater problems. But still, um, many Western countries, it works. You have some kind of budget, you allocate it for like beautiful parks, for like roads, right? For, again, healthcare if it's not the US, police, and many other things that have to be funded by the government or your state or your kind of local government or whatever. Depends on the country and state and city you're living. So yeah, I'm a huge believer in free market, but at the same time I understand the value that um, government control, limited government control, adds to the system. First of all, monopolies, we have to prevent them, because it seems like in many cases this free market ends up in being two or three companies controlling everything. So yeah, um, I'm not a fan of socialism. I believe that free market and capitalism works better than just letting your government control more and tax more. And again, different countries, different executions of this idea. Um, it's very hard and it's a very complicated topic to discuss. We have to have a lot more data, and but in my view, in my worldview, in my intuition says that no, capitalism, free market, some kind of government interaction is necessary, but free market is the way to go. And let's never try or even think about trying building communism again. We don't need genocides. And most of the time, it ends up being either that, or you have a country of millions of poor people trying to make a living and the government having all the money, which is again based on our human limitations, psychology, biology, and many other things. I think it's a good point to wrap it up. I'm really excited to host these kind of podcasts, and I really want to hear from you guys. Negative feedback, positive feedback, neutral feedback, everything will help me. And if you want to be my guest, let me know. I am talking to two people now who might be my next guests. So I'm really excited to continue doing this. And I hope you have a great day. Stay safe and stay hydrated. Bye.